I first discovered I was having perimenopause symptoms, it was a little bit of a shock because I did think, probably I'm too young for it at this moment in time. It did feel a little bit of a failure, or am I inadequate or something like that. But I think for me it was really important to remain a doctor, not give up my work, because I was really starting to think, can I carry on working? The way that I'm feeling, the way that my brain is functioning. I've always been quite passionate about sort of managing my hormones, and HRT didn't scare me. So the first thing I did was, go and see my doctor, go and see my GP, have a conversation and convince her that this was the right path for me. When I discovered I was perimenopausal and the symptoms I was going through, I did notice because of my tiredness, I was a little bit maybe more sharp, less tolerant, maybe a bit more sensitive. So I do remember saying to my daughter sometimes, if and when I snapped, I'm really sorry, I'm perimenopausal, because I thought she needed to understand that it wasn't her, it was me, because of my hormones, that's the way I'm feeling, that's why I'm a bit more snappy. So I did start to say that to her. I started to say, yes, I'm perimenopausal. So it helped in our relationship for me to be able to explain it. Even as a doctor, it was quite difficult for me even to understand my own perimenopause journey. I was in my early 40s, a lot was going on in my life. My relationship was breaking down, the one that I thought was my forever relationship, and my father was ill. So often for many women like me, whether or not they're a doctor or not, life events often overlap with perimenopause, and so perimenopause can creep up on you insidiously. We often have been told that menopause is sort of hot flushes and mood swings, so we don't really equate it with things like fatigue or joint aches and pains. So for me, I remember just feeling really tired all the time, and I was just putting it down to life and stress. I was waking up in the morning feeling like this robot with stiff joints. Again, I thought maybe I'm just getting old, yet here I was only 44, 45 years old. Also things like my memory. I was really feeling that my memory just wasn't as sharp, and I used to call my memory my superpower. So I was getting scared at this point because my mother does have Alzheimer's. So I started to think, do I have Alzheimer's? And then, another unusual symptom, which many women don't often equate with perimenopause and menopause, is one of the lesser known symptoms, is I had really itchy skin. I was sort of scratching myself. I was locking my door in my GP surgery just to give myself a good scratch all over. I was having a lie down at lunch times because I was feeling so tired. I couldn't even wear a necklace because my neck ached so much, and my big toe ached as well, and so I really couldn't even wear high heels, not like I was a high heel wearer. So I had so many symptoms which normally, I hadn't grown up knowing were associated with perimenopause and menopause. I also had life events going on, my father being in hospital, relationship breaking down, and so I really didn't know what was going on at this particular moment in time. And the penny dropped, and I know you might laugh at this, the penny dropped when I was attending a menopause conference. And I was listening to lots of different cases, and I suddenly thought, that is me. I am that person that they're talking about. And on the way home, I was speeding and driving because I was so tired, I needed to get home. So at least, for me, I found out what was going on, I worked it out, and I went to see my own GP to seek some help, sort of tell her what I thought was going on. And I think one of the things is that many of us think that we're too young. We equate menopause and perimenopause with someone maybe in their early 50s and older, and we often look in the mirror and think, it doesn't really look like me, does it? I don't look like I'm perimenopausal or menopausal. So often there's a denial. So I did have to convince my GP that even though I was 44, 45, that I was experiencing perimenopause. But I suppose I did carry some weight with me, the fact I am also a doctor, and she agreed with me that for me to go on to HRT, which really helped so much with my sort of joint aches and pains, with my fatigue, with my sort of energy levels, and with my mood and my feelings of anxiousness. Even as a doctor, we don't really get taught much about menopause in our GP or medical school training. I'd gone out of my way to learn about it only because I'm the eldest of 6 girls, and I thought, I know I'm going to go through it before any of them. And also I do remember, my mum having these sort of panic attacks when she was going through her menopause. She wouldn't lock the bathroom door. But not that at the time we remember thinking it was menopause, it was only later on that put 2 and 2 together. And I think like many cultures, many families, mothers, aunts, don't necessarily talk about menopause with their sort of daughters or nieces or family members. It's very much a taboo subject. So I think it's really important that we do talk about it with our daughters and other women around us, so we can just normalize it. Over time, I still noticed that I was still feeling maybe not as mentally sharp. My libido was a little bit low, and there was just something missing. And so the last thing that I added in was testosterone. So I am now on estrogen, progesterone and testosterone, which works really well for me. You know, I feel the best that I've ever felt, and you know, this is something I do want to share, that many women often feel that life is over, or you know, it's not going to get any better, especially when they're feeling all of these symptoms, which honestly I thought exactly the same. But I feel the best that I've ever felt, the most confident I've ever felt, the most sexiest I've ever felt, and you know, running my own business. And I think, you know, finally I am the woman that I've always wanted to be. So I think, you know, it can be a real time of reawakening for many women, and a time of discovery, but a real time of challenges, but challenges which, if you seek help, you get the support that you need, you make those changes to your lifestyle, you create that community around you. HRT for you or not for you, but for me definitely yes, can really, really help you on this journey. So if any of this resonates with you, and if you've got any comments or questions, do post them below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.